I'm Shane White, and this is The Process.
Hey gang, Shane Patrick White here with another edition of The Process. On today's vlog, I want to talk about what I've been working on, which is something I'm always working on. It's physical therapy. And when we sit at our drafting tables and computer desks for a long time, we tend to atrophy. We tend to get into a state, or as we call it, the zone, where you're just focusing on the work. And part of that problem is that our muscles start creating these grooves, these ways of not moving, or moving in very small ways. And if you remember the carpal tunnel of the early aughts, some people still suffer from that. And a lot of research has stated that by moving and by taking care of yourself and stretching, you will have a more productive and better life. So what I try to do is I bring weights into the studio. I have a mat that I stretch out on. I take breaks every 25 minutes by setting up a timer on my phone or on my computer to remind me that, hey, it's time to stretch. It's time to get the blood flowing. And usually during lunch, if I'm lucky and the weather's decent, I'll take a 10-minute walk just to be out in nature a little bit and to get that metabolism going. That way I don't fall asleep or feel really sluggish towards the afternoon. So that's that. So keep that in mind. It's also a little bit of advice, but it's also kind of what I'm always working on. Oh, here's something cool. Ryan Hughes is a designer. He's a logo designer and just a great designer all around. He produced this book on 60s illustrators and illustration from that time period. And I think most of these guys are British. There's some Bob Peak and I think some Bernie Fuchs in here as well. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful book that's lavishly illustrated by year. So it starts from like 1960 all the way to 1969. And you get to see how some of the fashions and some of the style of painting changes over time. And so I use this as reference for a project that I did for Insight Comics that I'll be talking about at a later date. But if you like Taschen books or are familiar with them, they're really thick volumes of books. This is kind of done in that tradition. So I would definitely pick this up. It's great for your coffee table or your studio reference. Today's bit of advice. This is something that's great. I use this all the time now. My painting teacher, who I've probably talked about at length before, Henry Stinson, mentioned to us at one point, squint for value and open your eyes for color. So squinting basically blurs an image or the scene that you're looking at, and you can start seeing how light passages and shadow passages start grouping together, and then you can sort of tell how the value is stepping down, through, from dark to light or light to dark, and that'll give you a better sense of your value structure. And that way you can compare and contrast those areas. As far as color, you want to open your eyes. That'll definitely let in the most amount of light and the reflection off the objects or the scene that you're looking at. And that way, again, you can compare colors more accurately. Your eyelashes aren't getting in the way. Here's a terrible thing that happened to me. I studied with him for 3 months and he moved away. And I got the advice mixed up. I thought you were supposed to squint for color and open your eyes for value. And so for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, I was painting paintings that looked terrible. I mean, I was also struggling as a painter to begin with, but all my color was muddy. And it was because my eyelashes were getting in the way and I was squinting and I'm like, why doesn't that look right? And it's a mess. But don't go so long without seeking help. That's the other piece of advice. But anyways, that's it for today's vlog. If you would like to leave a comment below or feedback, please do. Subscribe, that's always helpful. It definitely will keep this going and keep the energy flowing. If you have a link to any cool artwork or whatever, please put it in the comments below. I'm always interested in looking at cool stuff and maybe I'll mention it on here. So until then, as always, thanks for watching.